You finally have a free evening, no meetings, no deadlines, nothing you have to do. And yet somehow, you can't relax. You scroll through options, start something, stop, switch to something else, and end up feeling more restless than you did when you were actually busy. This isn't laziness. It's not because you don't know how to enjoy yourself. It's a specific psychological pattern that happens when your nervous system doesn't know how to transition out of a state it's been holding for hours or days at a time. Most people assume relaxation is automatic. You stop working, you relax. But that's not how your brain works. Relaxation isn't the absence of effort. It's a state your body has to actively enter. And if you've been operating in a certain mode for long enough, your system doesn't know how to switch off. Here's what's actually happening. When you're busy, stressed, or mentally engaged, your body runs on a blend of cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals keep you alert, focused, and ready to respond. That's useful when you're working. But they don't disappear the moment you sit down on your couch. Your brain interprets the sudden lack of structure as uncertainty, and uncertainty to your nervous system is not safety. So even though you're technically free, your body stays in a low-level vigilant state, scanning for what it should be doing next. Research shows that people who spend long periods in cognitively demanding or emotionally regulated environments often experience something called arousal persistence. Your body remains physiologically activated even after the demand is gone. You're no longer working, but your heart rate is still slightly elevated. Your mind is still scanning. Your muscles are still holding tension. You don't notice until you try to let go. This is why you feel tired but wired. You want to rest, but sitting still feels uncomfortable. You try to watch something and your mind drifts. You try to do nothing and it feels wrong. It gets worse if your free time is unpredictable or short. If you've learned that relaxation might be interrupted at any moment, your brain treats it as temporary. It doesn't fully commit. You're resting on the surface, but underneath, you're still prepared to switch back into action. Let's say you finish work at 6. You have 3 hours before bed. That sounds like enough time to unwind. But if you've spent 8 hours in back-to-back focus, responding to messages, managing tasks, or staying mentally available, your system has been running in overdrive. 3 hours isn't long enough for your body to fully downregulate, especially if you're using that time to make decisions about what to do, scroll through stimulation, or half-engage with multiple things at once. This is also why weekends sometimes feel more exhausting than weekdays. You expect to feel recharged, but instead you feel disconnected or annoyed with yourself. That's because you're trying to force a nervous system reset in a window that's too short, while still carrying the mental residue of everything that happened during the week. Your brain also struggles with the gap between effort and reward. During work, you're completing tasks, you're getting feedback, you're moving through a structure. Even if it's draining, it's clear. But in free time, there's no external validation. No one's measuring whether you're relaxing correctly. So your brain starts creating tasks out of rest. You start optimizing your downtime. You start feeling like you should be doing something better, more meaningful, more restorative, and now rest has become another performance, another thing you're supposed to get right, another metric you're failing at. Here's the part that's hard to accept. You might not actually be capable of deep relaxation in the small pockets of time you currently have, not because you're broken, but because your system is doing exactly what it's been trained to do. Stay ready. Stay aware. Don't fully let go. This doesn't mean you'll never relax. It means relaxation requires more than permission. It requires time, repetition, and the genuine absence of demand. Your body has to believe it's safe to stop scanning. And if your environment or schedule doesn't consistently support that, your system won't risk it. Some people notice this most on vacation. The first 2 days feel awful. You're irritable, restless, maybe even physically unwell. That's not the vacation failing. That's your body finally starting to release what it's been holding. But if your vacation is only 4 days long, you spend half of it in that transition phase, and the other half dreading the return. You also can't think your way into relaxation. You can't convince your nervous system to calm down by telling it to. That's not how regulation works. Your body responds to consistency, to safety, to patterns it can trust. If your life doesn't have those, your body won't pretend. This is why typical self-care advice often backfires. People are told to take baths, light candles, do breathing exercises, and those things can help. But if your baseline state is chronic low-level activation, a 15-minute bath isn't going to override it. You'll sit in the bath thinking about everything you're not doing. You'll finish and feel exactly the same. The uncomfortable truth is that rest is not a reward you earn by working hard enough. Rest is a biological need that your environment either supports or prevents. And if your environment is built around constant availability, frequent transitions, and very little true unstructured time, your body is going to resist rest even when you want it. This also explains why you feel guilty during free time. Guilt isn't a moral failure. It's your brain interpreting the absence of productivity as a threat. If you've been conditioned to believe your worth is tied to output, then doing nothing feels dangerous. Your mind will generate tasks, worries, or distractions to pull you back into a state it recognizes as useful. Think about how you spend a typical Sunday. You wake up without an alarm. You tell yourself you're going to take it easy. But within an hour, you're thinking about emails you didn't send, tasks you didn't finish, or things you should be preparing for the week ahead. You're physically at home, but mentally you're already back at work. You might try to distract yourself. You put on a show, but you're also on your phone. You're scrolling while half watching, not fully present in either activity. You finish an episode and realize you weren't really paying attention. So now you feel like you wasted time twice, once by not working, and again by not actually enjoying what you were doing. This fragmented attention is another symptom of the same problem. When your brain is stuck in task mode, it struggles to engage deeply with anything that doesn't have a clear goal. Entertainment without purpose feels aimless. Rest without productivity feels irresponsible. Your nervous system is still looking for something to solve, something to complete, something to justify the time you're spending. And here's what makes it even harder. The modern world doesn't just demand your attention during work hours. It's designed to keep you in a state of partial engagement all the time. Notifications, messages, updates, news. Even when you're off the clock, your phone is still pinging. Your brain is still processing. Your system is still on alert. So the line between work time and free time has blurred. You're never fully in one or the other. You're always sort of available, sort of responsible, sort of on. And that constant low-grade activation is exactly what prevents deep rest. You're not lazy for struggling to relax. You're experiencing the downstream effect of a system that hasn't been given the conditions it needs to actually recover. You're living in an environment that prioritizes responsiveness over rest, productivity over presence, and constant motion over stillness. This doesn't mean you're doomed. It means the problem isn't you. It's the gap between what your body needs and what your life currently allows. And understanding that gap is the first step towards seeing it clearly. You might not be able to fix it overnight. You might not even be able to fix it at all within the structure of your current life. But at least now you know why your free time doesn't feel free, why trying harder to relax only makes it worse, and why the advice to just unwind has never actually worked. Your body isn't failing you. It's responding exactly as it's been trained to. And maybe that's the most important thing to understand.